Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking a door to history that honestly maybe was never meant to be opened. We're looking at a mystery buried not in the earth, but deep in the sea. Picture this, okay? It's February 1947. We're in the Strait of Malacca. That's that narrow, restless stretch of water between Sumatra and the Malay Peninsula. Now today, it's one of the absolute busiest shipping lanes on the planet. But back then, totally different story. It was much darker, much quieter. And on this particular February morning, two American merchant ships are just going about their business when suddenly something cuts through the static of their radios, something that literally made every single crew member on deck stop dead in their tracks.
The message came through in Morse code. It was broken, fragmented, and just completely desperate. The radio operators scrambled and transcribed this absolutely chilling transmission. SOS from Ourang Medan. All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chart room and on bridge, possibly whole crew dead.
And then, right after a brief, terrifying silence, came three final words that have literally haunted maritime historians for over 70 years. I die. And then nothing. Just the cold, empty hiss of static.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at the timeline. The receivers of this message were two American merchant ships, the Silver Star and the City of Baltimore. Like I said, it's February 1947, right in the heart of the Strait of Malacca. Now, they didn't just hear this creepy message and sail on by. No way. The Silver Star actually changed course immediately. They were determined to follow the signal's exact coordinates to find the source of that terrifying broadcast.
When the Silver Star finally spotted her, the SS Ourang Medan, she was just floating there, silently. There were no distress flags flying, absolutely zero movement on the deck. Honestly, from a distance, she looked completely fine. Not a single dent or scratch on the hull whatsoever. But every sailor who looked at that ship through their binoculars said the exact same thing later. They felt it before they could even explain it. You know that cold, crawling feeling when your gut instincts are just screaming at you to turn around? Yeah, that. But they didn't turn around.
So, a boarding party actually climbs aboard the Ourang Medan, and what they found was a scene nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for. The entire crew was dead. But it wasn't just that they were dead. They were found exactly where they stood. The captain was slumped right at the helm, eyes wide open, just staring at something that wasn't there anymore. The officers in the chart room? Frozen in place, looking absolutely horrified, with their arms reaching out toward, well, something unseen. Even the ship's dog was dead, with its lips pulled back in this permanent snarl and its hair standing straight up. And here's the craziest part. There were no injuries. At all. No signs of a struggle, no detectable poison, no carbon monoxide, no fire, no flooding. The ship was structurally perfect. Whatever wiped out these men didn't leave a single physical mark behind.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, well, I want you to really let this sink in. Listen to the precise description given by one of the guys in the boarding party. Their faces were frozen in expressions of terror and anguish, as if they had all seen the same thing at the same time. It wasn't just death, you guys. It was pure, unadulterated terror stamped onto the face of every single man on that boat.
Okay, so the boarding party, who are understandably totally freaked out at this point, decide to tow the vessel back to port. But things escalate incredibly fast. Just minutes after they secure the tow lines, someone spots it. Smoke. Thick, black smoke suddenly pouring from below deck right out of the cargo hold. The men realize they are in immediate, life-threatening danger and frantically evacuate back to the Silver Star. Moments later, like almost instantly, the Ourang Medan erupts. Witnesses said the explosion was so violent that the massive ship literally lifted partially out of the water before sinking, all at once. It's almost like something inside her was just waiting for them to leave, and with her went every body, every clue, and every single answer, straight down to the bottom of the ocean.
So how does an entire crew die without a single physical mark, only to have all the evidence instantly and violently destroyed just moments after being discovered? Investigators, both back then and today, have thrown absolutely everything at this case. Let's dig into the main theories they've come up with to try and make sense of this completely impossible scenario.
All right, theory one is what we call the toxic cargo hypothesis. Some researchers believe the Ourang Medan wasn't just your run-of-the-mill merchant vessel. They theorized she was actually secretly smuggling highly volatile World War II chemical weapons, stuff like nerve agents or potassium cyanide. The idea here is that a leak down in the cargo hold could have silently seeped upward, basically killing everyone on board right in their tracks. And as for that huge violent explosion, well, that would be those unstable chemicals finally reacting to the heat in the salt air once the hold was disturbed.
It's totally logical, and it provides a very clean, scientific explanation for the sinking.
So the crucial point is this. While the toxic cargo theory gives us a really solid explanation for the explosion, it completely fails to explain the crew's faces. Think about it. Nerve agents and cyanide, they cause horrific physical symptoms, convulsions, intense pain, but they don't uniformly freeze an entire crew and a dog in synchronized expressions of wide-eyed absolute terror, like they were staring right at a ghost.
Let's move to and see how this builds on the science. Theory 2 is natural gas venting. So the Strait of Malacca actually sits directly over regions known for massive underwater methane deposits. This theory suggests there was a sudden violent release of carbon monoxide or methane gas bubbling right up from the seafloor. This toxic cloud could have completely engulfed the ship, causing rapid suffocation. But more importantly, poisoning from these specific types of gases is actually known to cause intense supervivid hallucinations right before death.
And that's a real game changer. Because rapid suffocation, combined with severe hallucinations, that perfectly accounts for those agonizing expressions of extreme terror. If the entire crew was simultaneously hallucinating their absolute worst, darkest nightmares as they suffocated, it would beautifully, if, tragically, explain exactly why they were reaching out, eyes wide, paralyzed by fear. It's a very compelling, naturally occurring alternative.
But then we have Theory 3, the unexplained or the hoax. Because here is the thing that nobody really talks about when they first dive into this story. Are you ready for this? The Ourang Medan does not appear in a single verified maritime registry from that era. Not one. There is no official record of the ship's registration. There's no confirmed port of origin. There is no verified crew manifest. For all official, practical purposes, this ship officially never existed.
And this brilliantly illustrates the central paradox of the whole Ourang Medan mystery. On one side, we have the hard, physical evidence. A very real distress signal was heard. A physical ship was boarded. Bodies were absolutely found. And the accounts from the boarding party are remarkably, disturbingly consistent across multiple witnesses from totally different ships. But on the flip side, we have the official records. Just a total blank. No registration, no port, effectively making her a literal ghost ship even before the crew met their grim fate.
So where does all this leave the investigation today? Well, over 70 years have passed since that frantic, fragmented SOS cut through the radio waves. The wreck of the Ourang Medan, it has never been found. There have been no successful dive teams, 0 sonar scans that have picked up her hull, and absolutely no satellite images revealing her watery grave. The sea keeps its own secrets perfectly. But let me tell you, even today, on quiet nights when the water is perfectly flat, sailors crossing the Strait of Malacca still talk about it. They talk about that invisible, unexplainable weight in the air when you're passing over water that is just too deep and too dark to see the bottom of.
Because honestly, the real horror of the Ourang Medan isn't just what killed those men. It's the enduring unknown of it all. Was this the most elaborate maritime hoax in human history? Was it a massive, government-covered-up disaster involving illegal weapons? Or what really lies at the bottom of the dark waters of the Malacca Strait? History doesn't always close neatly. Sometimes it just stops transmitting. If this explainer kept you up, you're definitely not alone. I want to know what you guys think. Drop a comment below with which theory you believe, and make sure to subscribe for more structured, slide-by-slide deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. We'll be waiting.